Hey everybody, this is my 55-gallon Gourami tank, although at the moment we are looking at my big beautiful angelfish named Kara. And the reason we're looking at that big beautiful angelfish is because it's clearly the centerpiece of the tank, even though this tank is called my Gourami Tank. It's been called my Gourami Tank for many years. I've had all sorts of different gouramis in here over the years, and in fact you can see I've currently got 7 of the pearl gouramis in here. Everybody thinks they're getting dinner. They think that's why I'm standing in front of the tank. So no real point in the video. I just did some maintenance yesterday, got the tank all nice and cleaned up, trimmed some of the plants down, got the glass wiped off. And since I seldom get a chance to really have a close-up look at this tank, I know I sit in front of it during my live streams, but that really doesn't do it justice. So I thought we could just take a few minutes to have a closer look at it with a better quality camera. And again, you can see how colorful these pearl gouramis are starting to become. I definitely have 3 males. And you can tell the males not only by the more vivid colors, but if you look at their anal fin, you'll see how they have those sort of trailing tendrils. It almost looks like a skirt or a veil or something hanging down below them. And that is a dead giveaway for the males. I'm really anxious to see when they fully mature and start to compete for breeding, and we really start seeing some of those spawning colors, because those are going to be amazing. Now I will say I've got a very low quality LED on this tank. It's a cheap RGB LED, or at least I believe it is an RGB LED. And whenever you have an RGB LED, that's red, green, and blue light, it gives the impression of full spectrum white light, but it is very far from it in actuality. And while our brains do a pretty good job of interpreting it as white light, it leaves a lot to be desired. And if you're familiar with the CRI, or the color rendering index, you will know that a color rendering index of 80 is not very impressive. And whenever you've got an RGB LED, a CRI of 80 is the highest you can possibly achieve. Some might claim you can get 85, but 80 is really the highest you're going to ever achieve with an RGB LED. They're just not very good at recreating true full spectrum light. So the downshot to that is, while at a glance the tank looks lovely and beautiful, you really are missing the full beauty and glory of what these fish could actually look like under a really good quality light. So I'm still considering swapping this one out. It's a cheap LED shop light that I bought at Walmart for $12 recently. And again, for $12, it's a fantastic light, and I'm not complaining about it in any sense. But if I really want to see the, the true colors of those pearl gouramis in there, I'm going to just have to put a better light on there. There's just nothing, you get what you get for $12. Again, I'm not complaining about it, but it's a $12 light. So we'll have to get in there and maybe do something about that at some point. Otherwise, everything in the tank is looking good. Another good broadside view of Kara, my big angelfish there. I've got another really big angelfish in my 125. I don't think people appreciate just how big it is because it's in a 125. It makes it seem a little smaller. This one being in a 55 makes it seem absolutely enormous. And it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. That's a really big angelfish. But being in a 55, it just proportionately makes it seem even larger. Either way, it is a gorgeous angelfish. So some of the water sprite got trimmed down. I don't really have a lot in the way of floating water sprite in this tank. In fact, I'm not sure I have any floating water sprite in here at all. Maybe a few little tiny pieces back there have broken loose and are floating. But I have tucked this one in between those 2 rocks, so it's not really rooted in necessarily, but it is kind of hanging in there, and you can see how the roots are flowing through the water, and it looks good. this Java moss is growing like crazy, and it's already starting to infiltrate my Java Windelove here and grow through the Java Windelove, so I'm having to get in there and clean some of the Java moss out of that. I've been suggested that that might be Christmas moss and not Java moss. I don't ever remember purchasing anything called Christmas moss, but I suppose it's possible, and I haven't bought any moss in years and years. Again, I'm just sort of recycling the same plants. It's not like I have any problem with plant reproduction. This stuff grows like a triffid in my tank. It just eats everything alive, and so I'm always pulling this stuff out of tanks. So maybe at some point I got something that was mislabeled or something. I honestly don't even remember when I bought it, but I remember it being Java moss. I don't ever remember buying Christmas moss, but it could be. I don't know. As far as the bottom of the tank goes, we've got the same old inhabitants. We got some clown loaches down there. I mean, some coolie loaches down there. We've got a couple little Gourami catfish, a few other loaches that we see from time to time, and there is my rubber lip pleco, which we don't often get to see in this tank, so that's making an appearance. Rubber lip plecos are on my list of favorites. There's my skunk loach, or one of my skunk loaches, you can kind of see in there, along with my striped Raphael catfish. That is an Angelfish loach, or a Kubutai bodia, I think is the other name for that, but I bought it under the name Angelfish loach. And then of course we've got all of the black skirt tetras. There's a few long fin black skirt tetras, and then I've got some of the red wag platies that I threw in here. And of course we don't have to worry about overpopulation with the red wag platies breeding with all these tetras and angelfish in the tank. So there you go, everybody. Just a nice little overview on a Saturday evening of what my Gourami tank looks like when it's all nice and cleaned and the glass is wiped down and the water's all nice and clear. So make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything I got coming up. You never know what it's going to be with me. And of course I do a live stream every Friday and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so you don't want to miss any of those. So thanks for watching. I'll see you real soon in the next one.